Hello and welcome to Black Cats Chat, the international fans podcast for Sunderland AFC. My name is Lee Thurkle. I'm from the Bilbao Black Cats, and we're back with an early morning review show. Well, for me, early morning, but for my two guests, it's early evening, late afternoon. And we're back with a review show because last night we went to Anfield against a struggling Liverpool, and we managed to get a 1-1 draw, which some of us are disappointed about because the match went favourably for a very long time. But today, two guests. We've got Chris in Brisbane. He's back again. Chris woke up at 5 in the morning or something like that in Brisbane to watch the match. Pure dedication. Chris, it was worth it, wasn't it?
Absolutely was. Fantastic game. And I'm one of those people who's gutted that we didn't win it. I thought we deserved to win it, but there we are. These things
Yeah.
happen.
Uh-huh. And our second guest today is a new guest to the podcast, and we're very delighted to welcome him to the podcast. It's Indigo Fasca, and Indigo is in Tokyo in Japan. He's the founder of the SAFC Japan. Indigo, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for inviting me to this wonderful podcast. And hopefully, if there are any Macams all around the world and they're coming to Japan, I can meet them in person as well.
Yeah, that's what this podcast is all about, mate. Our international fan base and connecting people from everywhere. Me and Chris, we're going to meet in New Year because Chris is going to England. I'm going to England, so we're going to have a beer in Sunderland. So, yeah, that's great. Indigo, so when we have a new guest on the podcast, we always like them to tell their Sunderland story. So, how did you become a Sunderland fan?
It's quite a long story, but the short story is my father originally was a very relaxed Sunderland fan, and from a relatively young age, I have watched Sunderland games, and I really became a true fan during probably the 2014-15 season, where we were under Dick Advocaat, and we pulled off a miraculous escape from relegation. And ever since, I've watched many games, and since our first season in the championship, I've watched every game from Japan, which isn't as easy as it might seem because most games are from like 1 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning. So that's how I became a fan and how I am still a fan at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And have you been to Sunderland before or not yet?
Unfortunately, I've never been to Sunderland at the moment, but I would love to go there in maybe a year or two, definitely.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you'll be very welcome. And the club also did a feature on you, no, on social media, on the club website recently. No, you appeared on the club's social media pages.
Yes, I happened to have gotten introduced to the the company that was doing the production for the Premier League, and that's how I was featured by the club, and it was a very great honor to be part of the project, and I've got to know so many Macams all around the world who've come to Japan, and we've communicated, and it's all been a wonderful experience altogether.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of Sunderland AFC in Japan, how many other fans have you gathered in Japan to watch matches? Is it easy? Is it difficult? Is there a big interest in Sunderland now they're in the Premier League?
Yes and no. There are a decent number of fans, but most of them are from the Premier League days, probably from like 15 or 20 years ago. And there is a new generation too, which is slightly younger than my age, that is emerging, but there has been a massive gap in the supporter fan base in Japan, so that's a gap them trying to fill through my activities, but probably there are maybe 10 to 15 fans altogether that I know in person, and altogether maybe like 40 or 50 fans that I try to gather to have gatherings and watch parties.
Mm-hmm. That sounds brilliant, yeah. And what would be your favourite moment in your Sunderland supporting life? What was the fondest memory for you?
Uh, Probably it's the promotion through the playoffs that we just had a few months ago, and in Japan, in Tokyo, we gathered annually. We gather for the playoff finals, and and watch the game together. This time we happened to watch it with Sheffield United fans as well,
Whoa.
and we sat on each end of this long table in a British pub in Tokyo, and at first we were just the we half gave up at when we saw the second goal from who was it? The second goal that got disallowed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then after that, the atmosphere was amazing, and the Blades fans didn't look very happy when they were going back home that day.
Yeah, I can imagine. Maybe like you were sat on different sides of the table, but you thought, hang on,
Yeah.
we're both wearing red and white. Maybe I'm going to blend in with this side just to. But no, that was a great moment, and I was lucky enough to be there at Wembley to watch it, and wow,
Oh yeah.
yeah. No, so thanks for that, Indigo. Like that was really nice. I mean, I believe you want to show us some pictures or a presentation or something like that. Is that right?
Yes. First, before I move on to my presentation, this is the watch party we had for the playoff final. In Japan, since there aren't very many EFL fans in general, we all gather together with all EFL fans, and most don't pick sides, but just watch the game. And the people in front are the Sunderland fans and the Blades fans.
Yeah.
And this is how we. There there's a decent number of EFL fans though, so it was a very nice experience.
Do they just pick a? Do they just pick a team then, a random team, Indigo? How does it work?
Um, Everybody has their own reason for supporting their team. Some have studied there, others have lived there, some might have like a relative that lives there. Others might just happen to have a player that they like that plays for the team, and then they get into it. And yeah, all random different reasons that they support their club, but I think Sunderland and Blades both have a decent fan base in Japan. So hopefully, like Newcastle, Sunderland will come to Japan to play some preseason games someday. But yes, I'm trying to gather some more fans to make that more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me move on to my presentation.
I suppose Leeds possibly have a big fan base at the moment, no, because of Tanaka.
Yes, yes, they have watch parties that fill these pubs up. So like 40 or 50, maybe 20 or 30 people will come to these watch gatherings. Sunderland gatherings, probably like 10 to 15 people most of the time. So that's one benchmark that I'm trying to hit maybe in a few years, but
Mm-hmm.
at the time being.
Well, at the moment, the club is helping you with good performances, I suppose. So
Yes, yes. There are lots of people on X that say that they like how we play, and ideally my job is to try to make them actual Sunderland fans that watch games every week, even when we don't perform as well as we might want to.
yeah,
So yeah.
Chris, I was going to come to you a second because you're in Brisbane. I mean, I know that the Western Australia has a big branch in Perth, but what about in Brisbane? Have you met many other Mackems there?
No, I tried. I think I told this story the first podcast that I was on. I got in touch with the remember when they did the branch stuff and they were like they were hammering it and kind of getting as many branches as possible across the world.
Yeah, that was
I
Stuart
pinged
Donald.
yeah, it was, yes, our friend Stuart. I pinged the Brisbane contact and just never got back to me. Just nothing. Just crickets, tumbleweed. So I've seen a handful. I went to Melbourne recently. I went to one of the Oasis gigs, and there was a dude there this season's top with Xhaka on the back, and I made a beeline for him, but I couldn't get anywhere near him. Like the
Ah,
crowd he just disappeared into the crowd. I was like, oh, devastated. Like he's probably from Melbourne or something, but it would have been great just to say hello to him. But yeah, there's not a lot in Brisbane, unfortunately.
yeah. Hopefully that'll come bigger. Go on, there you
Yeah.
go. Let's hear your timeline, your presentation, then.
Okay. So this is my Sunderland journey. And first, I was originally born in New York, And my father has no connection to Sunderland, but happened to be a very relaxed fan. And when I was 4 years old, around 4 years old, I moved to Tokyo, and I've lived in Tokyo ever since.
Mm-hmm.
The area that I live in Tokyo is called Oimachi and is famous for these like small alleys with many traditional bars, I guess, bars and small restaurants, and it's a place I would highly recommend. And some Sunderland fans that I really had that I didn't get in touch with happened to stay in the area that I live in, even though I had no connection with them. So that was something that I was very surprised about. But it's
Mm-hmm.
a great area, so if you come to Tokyo, please come by. And like I said earlier, I originally became a fan in the 2014-15 season, right after Gus Poyet, when we had Dick Advocaat as manager,
Mm-hmm.
and I really became a fan during the Big Sam era, where we won against, I think, Norwich and Everton and Chelsea,
And
if I
Chelsea, yeah.
remember correctly. And those games are still be one of the best games that I remember. So I'm a massive fan of that era in particular. Currently, I'm in Tokyo and I watch Sunderland games early in the morning while often hosting podcasts in Japanese for Japanese viewers because most of the Japanese streams for Sunderland games are in Japanese only.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, English only have English
Commentary.
commentary,
Yeah.
so I try to s- do a sort of Japanese commentary and a little pre-match analysis to make things more interesting for the Japanese fans that aren't particularly familiar with English.
Yeah, so
So,
real-time translation.
not quite translation. I talk about whatever I want to talk about, but yes, some people like what I do, and I have maybe like 7 or 8 or sometimes like 20 people who listen to my live stream during the game, so it's something they do recently. And otherwise, I run an X account where I host mat pre host gatherings and watch parties and post some like analysis about Sunderland's targets
Mm-hmm.
and in general try to connect with fans around the world, like you and Chris, of course. And that's my fan timeline.
Wow, brilliant. Yeah,
Okay,
so
so or I like many parts of the Sunderland, but originally I think there are three main aspects that really got me into Sunderland as a team. First was that my father was a fan, so I got access at a very young age. Secondly, I really like the resilience in the team, and I myself sometimes make clumsy mistakes, like Sunderland did at the time, but when it mattered the most, Sunderland always performed well and always won against opponents that nobody thought we could win against. So that's some part that I really felt
can I just bring in Chris
connected
there,
with.
Indigo? So Chris, I mean,
Yeah.
looking at those three aspects, I mean, that's something in a nutshell, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I'm sitting here grinning like an idiot. Like it's amazing. It's just to think that, I mean, I know you've kind of picked this up from your dad, Indigo, but like for you to have this kind of this bond and for you to get what the club's about, that it just honestly warms my heart. Like it's just amazing to see somebody from, born in New York and moved to Tokyo, and like I said, your dad was a bit of a casual, relaxed fan, and it's just you've got the bug and you just get the club. It's really lovely to see. It's amazing.
Thank you. It's wonderful to hear that from Mac from a true Macam, but
Yeah, that's how we feel, Indigo. I mean, like family, resilience, and identity, and then
yeah.
basically adversity, but like not giving up and always
Yeah.
fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was slightly concerned that that might be lost with the massive overhaul of the team this year, but it seems like it's been more present as ever, and the sort of clumsy side of the team has been eliminated, and only the good side is now turning up. Hopefully, we can keep the good streak up in the future, but that's why I fell in love with the team.
Uh-huh.
And these are past players that I love. I love Lee Cattermole for his yellow cards and tackles and the, the, the team spirit as a whole. And I love Sebastian Larsson for his free kicks and his amazing goals. I think recently the club posted a goal that he scored against Liverpool, and
Yeah,
that's
the
another goal
scissor
that I
kick.
really
Yeah.
like. Yeah. And another less popular player that I really like is Jan Kirchhoff, that played
Great
under
player.
um, Big Sam, I think.
Yep.
And I forgot which game in particular, but there was one game that he performed very, very well that I remember very clearly, and that's why I'm a massive fan of him as well.
Well, he had some good games, but we all remember the Tottenham game, I think, which was his debut. I think we lost like 5-1 or something like that, didn't
Yeah,
we? But it's interesting, Indigo, because like all your favorite players there are midfielders. Are you a midfielder?
yeah.
Yeah, good spot.
No one. I'm I used to play as a center back, so I'm none of I'm not a midfielder, but yes. I like Lamine Kone or like Yanis Kabul too,
Uh-huh.
but I like
Okay.
Cattermole even better, I guess.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we all love Catamol and his tackles and his yellow cards and his rages. Uh-huh.
And otherwise, I love for in the current team, I love Trihume, Daniel, and Omar Alderete is the player that I'm a fan of recently,
Mm-hmm.
and I think
Yeah,
he's one of the most important players in the team currently. And
I would say so
these are
for the balance that he brings to the team and the strength. Yeah. Chris, would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a really good it's a really good pick considering, that it's a sport that you've come to, it's not sort of, I know it's big in Japan, but it's not as big as it is in the UK. I mean, I think Lee, you and I have spoken about Alderate's passing out of the back. Like he just makes us a different team when he plays. He's just phenomenal. Great
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
and this is my other favorite player, Patrick Roberts, who currently plays for Birmingham, but love how his story and I love how he defends well and I love how he's very technical and is brilliant from the wing, and I think he's playing very well for Birmingham at the moment. So
Yeah. There's a part of me, Indigo, which like feels disappointed that he still doesn't play for us because he's been on
Yeah.
the
yeah,
journey.
yeah,
We wouldn't be where we are without him. He scored
No.
against
yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday. He made one of the goals in the final. We wouldn't be in the Premier League without
Yeah.
that man. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
shame that he's not around anymore.
Yeah. Totally agree.
The assist for Mayenda too was Patrick
Mayenda,
Yeah.
Roberts,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Mayenda.
it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then
Great ball.
and he scored the goal in the playoff semi-final against Sheffield Wednesday. So yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
And
it? And you
these
go,
are
oh yeah, you go Malcolm's.
oh,
Yeah.
these are the Japanese Macums. This is me. These are the other Macums. This is right when we scored the
The winning goal.
first goal, I think. Or
Uh-huh.
no, this isn't the first goal. This is the when the goal got disallowed. And this is why we have all of us are from completely different have completely different emotions.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's one of my favorite photos. And the one on the top right is our gathering, and we regularly hold gatherings. So if any of you come to Japan, please contact me
Yeah,
so I
we
can
definitely will. It
set up.
sounds like a really
Yeah.
good day, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that
100%.
is my presentation. Thank you for listening to my
Hey,
presentation.
listen, we don't
Yeah.
normally do such long presentations, Indigo, but I think that was definitely worth it because that's really, really refreshing and enlightening to see. I think Chris, you'll agree with that, right?
No, it was awesome, man. It's like you can see and feel the love that you have for the club, Indigo, and it's lovely to see. It's really, really nice to see. It's awesome.
Yeah. Right. Well, listen, after that presentation, I think there's only one thing to talk about now, and that's the match. So,
Yes.
Chris, Regis Lebris, he went for the tinker again, didn't he? He went for the changes again. Traore was out, and Trey Hume came back in. Brobby came in for Isidore.
Yeah, first up.
Did either of those surprise you?
I was a little surprised to see Robbie start. That I didn't see that coming. I was a bit surprised when I had a look at the lineup. I thought it was a little bit, and again, it's not unusual for Regis to be clever, but it looked very much on paper like a five at the back. But then when we lined up, even the commentators on the feed that I had were like, "Oh, Sunderland are playing a four at the back." And then when we were out of possession, we went to a five. But as soon as we got the ball, I thought it was a very clever formation and clever tactical approach to the game. And I think the fact that we were the better team, you could argue he got it spot on. I think Reggie got it absolutely spot on.
Yeah, because like the Sky Sports reporters and the pundits in the studio were saying like, "Oh, Sunderland have gone to a back five," but you could see it clearly that
Mhm.
in possession it was a back four, out of possession it
100%.
was a back five because you got Trey Hume kind of doing both jobs, which totally made sense. I mean,
Yeah.
Traore perhaps can feel a little bit disappointed that he's had a good run of games, got his first goal, but he got dropped. But I think Talby gave more energy on the other wing, and Trey Hume has that defensive and offensive ability, doesn't he?
Yeah, for sure. And again, I think it was Regis's horses for courses, I think he changes the team depending on who we're playing. I thought that Chemsden was a little bit of a passenger in the first half, I'll be honest. I thought he was a bit anonymous. Second half, obviously, different story. But I just think he got it spot on. I think it was absolutely bang on. I think I don't know if disappointed's the right word. I was a bit surprised that his physicality didn't seem to come off. Like it felt like he fell over a few times where he could have kind of stood up to Kanate and battled and won the ball and been a bit stronger. I was a little bit surprised by that. But no, I think Reggie got it spot on. I think it was a great lineup and a good formation, and I thought the lads played brilliantly.
Yeah, I thought Robbie was good for 20, 25 minutes, but then
Mm.
after that, he just seemed to kind of like get knocked off the ball a little bit too easily.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
Indigo, I mean, going to Anfield, the current champions of the Premier League, is normally a kind of a scary prospect, but with Liverpool's form at the moment, it seemed like a good moment to play them. I mean, were you confident going into the match?
Um, yes and no, I guess. Was confident in the sense that we were consistently playing well for the past few games, especially against teams that have had the ball consistently. I think the only exception is Fulham, where we really didn't have control over the midfield because we only had two actual midfielders. But all in all, I thought that we could actually make some sort of impact in the game. But ultimately, I thought it was depended upon whether or not we could get the first goal. Because if we are a goal behind in Anfield with somewhat limited attacking resources, I would have found it much more difficult to get some sort of result from there. But I think the Lebris the decisions of Lebris was spot on in general, and I think it was good that he gave Brobby an opportunity because I think he was consistently scoring and contributing in goals. I think it's important for him to send out a message to the team that if you perform well from the bench, then
Hmm.
you actually can get an opportunity as a starter. And whether or not Brobby performed well today, I think it was very important that he started him.
That he
And I
had
think it was,
that he got that trust, no, from Lebris to
yes,
say,
yeah,
okay, listen. But I think it's also for Isidore as well, a kind of a kick up the arse. No, it's like to say,
yeah,
you okay, you scored 4 or 5 goals this season, but you haven't scored for a number of games now. We need goals.
yeah. I guess the same thing I think was as applied for Mayenda too. He scored our first goal of the season and then couldn't score for 2 or 3 games, and Isidore took his place after he scored a few from the as a substitute. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I mean, Chris, in the first half, we didn't really look troubled, did we? Not Liverpool looked really void of ideas, didn't they? Lacking ideas, just like hitting hopeful balls. They couldn't break us down. We were very organised. The shape was brilliant, and we actually had some good shots, didn't we? We had some like patient build-up and good chances. I mean, Alderete had a shot from outside the box. He had the overhead. He must have seen Romero against the Mags the night before. And then I suppose like the one that we thought was in was the Trey Hume shot.
I was out of my seat as soon as that left his foot. I genuinely thought I was going to rocket into the top corner. It was a hell of a shot. Good save from Allison, tipped it onto the bar. Yeah, I thought, and you could see the slow motion replay. Hume absolutely leathered it, like he just put his foot all the way through it. I genuinely thought that was going to go in. But yeah, first half, like I wasn't, and I'm a very nervous watcher. As soon as the other team starts to get some possession and control, I start doing the whole behind closed fingers thing. I wasn't nervous at all. I thought we were comfortably the better team, had them under control. Liverpool didn't look threatening at all. There was nothing about them that scared me in the first half. Not a thing.
Yeah, and we were talking, weren't we, about the commentary, and you were saying like the commentary was like basically quite biased and pro Liverpool.
Absolutely.
Where I was watching like Jamie Carragher, and Jamie Carragher was like saying like Sunderland have been excellent at, and I couldn't believe the number of times he was saying that. And it was about after 35 minutes he said that if Sunderland show more conviction, they can win it, and he was almost right. Um, Indigo, there was like good chances for us in the first half, but one thing that annoys me is sometimes we take unnecessary risks from the goalkeeper in defence. I think
Yes.
Robin Roofs yesterday had a couple of dodgy moments with his
Yeah.
distribution, Alderete, and I was thinking, if in doubt, just kick it out, right? I mean,
Mm. Um, yeah, I think it's a very difficult trade-off. Many promoted clubs, I think, will choose the latter, except a rare exception was Southampton, which didn't go quite as they wanted to. But I think that taking these small risks isn't quite a bad thing in the sense that baits them to come forward and try to press. And if we know where to take risks and where not to take risks, I think taking risks in the right area is can be very effective. And I think that Lebris has implemented that quite well, where we would bait them and where we would kick the ball right behind their fullbacks
mhm.
and win a long throw, or Talbi or Lefay or Isidore would break and get a corner kick where we are very good at. So I think that it's a matter of timing and trade-offs. So
Yeah. No,
obviously we shouldn't take unnecessary risks, though. I completely agree with you there.
yeah, I mean, like Chris, I mean, Roos, he's done it a few times this season where he basically does this kind of shimmy with his feet. I mean, he looks like he's flamenco dancing at times.
He'll have the odd wobble, Will Reeves, but I mean, you can't. He's young. I think we forget how young he is and how inexperienced he is. He's had one full season.
Well, 21, I
Um,
think, isn't he? Yeah, so.
yeah, he's a kid, and he's just where they found him from. He's phenomenal. I mean, the distribution that he played for Isidore at the end. Oh, stunning. That was just fabulous to have the presence of mind with all that pressure on him and all the rest of it. That was fantastic. So I think you've got to take the rough with the smooth, you know. He's still learning and he's going to make the odd mistake. The Alderete one across the face of the box, I had a little panic at that moment as well. I mean, I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But yeah, I mean, you know, the odd wobble from Roofs I can forgive because he's definitely won us a lot of points this season already.
Yeah, and it shows how confident he is as a
Mm,
player.
yeah,
Um,
good point.
Listen, Chris, I was watching Granit Xhaka closely. He was dictating absolutely everything. Like,
That man.
he was just like pointing everywhere. He was like the lollipop man. Do you know what I mean? He was like basically, yeah, you over there, you over there. And everything went through him. Do you know what I mean? It was like he was the person telling us where to pass. And Lebris talked about that on-field coach, you know, like the second on-field coach that we've got. Oh, and it
Yeah.
was so evident last night because I thought him and Siddiqui were brilliant.
He's just incredible. I mean, from the day we signed him, I was pinching myself because I couldn't believe it. And he's surpassed every expectation that I think any of us could have had of him. He has just been unbelievable. The way he controls and dictates the game and just sees everything. And he's just sits at the back. He's in that almost quarterback position, sprays passes around. He's always looking for the diags. And you're right, he reads the game so well and he understands what's going on every inch of the pitch and he just tells all the others what to do. Is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love that man. Love him.
Yeah, yeah, and you got to remember that. he's a Swiss captain, but he was playing against a World Cup winner against Alexis McAllister, who basically didn't have a look in at all. You know what I mean? He
No,
just completely dominated the match. Um,
did.
Indigo, one of my other favourite players from last night was Reynildo. I thought he was
Yeah.
absolutely excellent. The way he was bombing up and down the wings and his sliding tackles, it was really nice to see, wasn't it? And then what a signing.
Yeah, he's been amazing, especially against Premier League wingers that can tear up teams individually. But yeah, I think the speed with which he returns to to our defensive structure is amazing. And I think Lebris trusts him to bomb up forward because he knows that he's going to run back even faster than he does, but he does run up forward. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
he is going to be a massive loss in the AFCON period because then we'll have to play probably Hume on the left as left back or Dennis Serkin if he comes back and Mukiele on the right perhaps. But he's going to be a massive loss.
yeah. Well, he is 32 years old, but the fitness he has is incredible. And he does play for Mozambique, so no disrespect to Mozambique, but I don't think they're one of the favourites for the AFCON. So with a bit of luck, he'll play his 3 games and then get back to us as quick as possible. Right, lads, we're going to take a very short break and then we'll be back for part 2 to talk about the second half. Okay, so we'll see you soon.
Hello there, my name is Anthony Stevenson. I'm originally from Town Farm in Sunderland. I now live in Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. I've been supporting the lads for almost 40 years. How are the lads?
So welcome back to part 2 then. So half time, Chris, it's 0-0. We're looking comfortable. By the way, I want to give a special mention to Dan Ballard because his head and statistics yesterday must have been really, really high.
Frightening. The man is frightening. He's just incredible. Given that there was a lot of talk last season about, oh, if we go up, we might need to replace him, and I'm not sure he can do the step up. And there was a lot of that, like on the forums and thing, which obviously you have to take with a pinch of salt on the forum. But he's unbelievable, and the fact that there was a snip from an interview with Gasolfi recently. I'm sure you've seen it where he was just saying, like, you can't find another Dan Ballard. You can't find somebody who's going to have that commitment and will make those tackles and will throw his body on the line and will throw his head on every ball. So you can't find that kind of player. He's phenomenal. He's another one that we're very lucky to have. He's incredible.
Yeah, and Indigo, the commentators on the stream I was watching were comparing Dan Ballard to the Championship days to Dan Ballard now, because obviously you remember that unfortunately we lost to the neighbours up the road, the Black and Whites, in the FA Cup, and Dan Ballard was involved in that match, and he scored an own goal, made a mistake for Isak's goal, but last night he gave Isak absolutely nothing.
Yes. But I still think that even in that game, for probably the first 60 minutes, he was the best player beside Alex Pritchard for Sunderland. So I don't think that he played poorly. He only played poorly after we basically lost the game. So yeah, I think he really is playing much better because the players around him are very technical, and he doesn't have to take the same level of technical burden, and can focus on whatever he's good on, what he does best. So
yeah, I think it's like
that's
naturally, isn't it? It's like the better players you play with, or the better players you have around you, like the best it brings out of you, right? I mean, that's the way it is. But anyway, yeah, Indigo, Liverpool at half-time, they bring on their Liverpool legend, Mo Salah. But the way Mo Salah is playing at the moment, I wasn't even worried about him.
Yeah. And we have Ronaldo, and we brought on our own Sunderland legend, Luke O'Nien, from the 80th minute or so. Yeah.
But yeah,
I think they're
Chris,
both neck and neck in terms of how legendary they are to each club, but
no, definitely. I mean, Chris, Salah came on, so that was a sign that Arne Slot was really unhappy and feeling the heat. But you could see that he was feeling the heat because at the start of the second half, he kind of lost it on the sideline when Reynildo like bought a cheap foul on the touchline, and you could
Yeah.
see slotting the replays like arms up and was like, if you're like that in the 46th minute, in the first minute of the second half, that's a
Yeah.
man under pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, there was you probably had similar on your commentary, the Aussie track commentators, whatever we had, they were saying that Slot's never not beaten a promoted team. So the fact that we're the first ones to do that and we nearly beat them, you could just sense that they were like, and I get it. You could sense they were like, well, we should just win this as Sunderland. We should be 2 or 3-0. It should be fairly comfortable for us. And I get that to a degree. I mean, I think the way that we started the season, I think we deserve a bit more respect now. I think we're starting to show people that, we do deserve some respect, and we've got some very, very good players and a very good manager. But yeah, he's definitely, you could see he was internally, he was thinking this should be an easy 3 points, and he wasn't having a good night. He didn't get his own way by any means.
No, and Salah was kind of like in Reynildo's pocket most
anonymous.
of that second half, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was anonymous. He was just like, you never really saw anything of him.
No. There was one moment, Indigo, in the second half when we talked about Reynildo before, no, about how he gets up and down the pitch. But there was a pass from Granit Xhaka, which was like a wonderful pass. And you just saw Reynildo bombing up the wing. I thought he actually hesitated at first. And I thought he could have got there much quicker than he did. But the speed that he got there was just brilliant, wasn't it? Like the way that he just ran up the pitch, and the pass from Xhaka, the vision, was amazing.
Yeah, I think it's the one that he won. It's the play that he won the foul, if I remember correctly.
And Gomez got a yellow card for it, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think he's a massive asset in terms of like gaining vital yards in a game where we are most likely are going to be pinned to our own box. And it's amazing, it's brilliant that we have players that can pass that diagonal ball all the way to the other end of the pitch, and players that can get to the end of it. And ultimately, since he won the foul there, probably we chewed up maybe 10 minutes from the game. So I think that those plays and winning fouls in their half is a very important aspect that Lebris's side is doing very good at.
Yeah, no, Chris, I think that's a very good point, isn't it? Like, basically having a fullback that can get you up the pitch and win a foul like that. Because I think, listen, Dennis Serkin is a good player. I think he's technically very good. Possibly one thing he lacks is that burst of speed that Reynildo's got. So if you're Dennis Serkin, you're thinking, I'm going to get a chance in the Christmas period, New Year's period, because of Reynildo going to the AFCON. He's got to be licking his lips and thinking, okay, that's what I've got to do.
Yeah, definitely. And we've seen bits of that from Serkin. Like, toward the early part of last season, Serkin was arguably one of, if not our best player. Like he would take players on. He doesn't have Ronaldo's raw pace, but he can get past players. He can dribble past the player, and he'll take a player on, and he's got that confidence. So it'll be interesting to see how he does that in the Premier League, or if he can do that in the Premier League. But yeah, like he has to grab that chance. I think fullbacks or wingbacks or whatever you want to call them that bomb on, it's such a big part of Lebris this season, what he does and what his plan is and how the team works. It's such a big part of the tactics and the formation that we play. And Reynildo is just incredible. He's a phenomenal player.
Yep. Indigo, maybe for you, it's not as sentimental, but in the second half, the cameras on the commentary stream that I was watching, they zoomed in on the away end, and in the front row there was a Sunderland legend who, for me and Chris, is like basically our childhood hero. It was
Kevin Phillips.
Super Kevin Phillips. It was great to see him there. I mean, I suppose you've watched some videos of him and seen his goals.
Of course, I've watched many Niall Quinn goals and even more Kevin Phillips goals on YouTube, and have heard many stories from Sunderland fans that have come to Japan. But yes, it's wonderful that he was sitting with the away fans and was cheering the team on, and I'm not quite sure what kind of impact he's having toward the players on the team, or whether he has any connection with them, but having like a good family atmosphere with like Jermaine Defoe and other legends,
Mhm.
and them contributing to the atmosphere and to the younger players that we have, I think is a very important part that we might be able to utilize in order to actually stay in the Premier League and to get a sort of maturity and that we might be lacking due to the relative abundance of our younger players.
Yeah, no, I think he makes a good point there, Chris, doesn't he? Because this season the club has done this kind of former player in the away end. Barini was at Old Trafford, I think. Danny Collins has been in the away end. Jermaine Defoe and Super Kev went to USA for the NBC match day thing, breakfast. It's nice to see the club kind of like getting these former players in as a kind of ambassador role, isn't it? And bringing them into the training ground and like telling the players that, okay, these are some of the legends and they're not from the area, but they get it, and this is what you should be doing.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. And the club they're putting a lot of effort into the connection between the fans and the players again. And I think that whether it's come from KLD or Speakman or Gasolfi or whoever it is in behind the scenes, they've cottoned on to the fact that when the fans are on board, this and it's a bit of a cliche, the sleeping giant thing, but this club is such a juggernaut. When the fans are behind it and everybody's feeling good, we're unstoppable. We can. There's no reason we can't go a lot further. We are a phenomenal football club and a great set of fans. And when everybody's pulling in the same direction, it's amazing.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Like we are such simple fans, aren't we? Like basically we have like two things: play for the shirt, give everything. We'll cheer a tackle as loud as a goal, and
Yep.
and it's so simple to get the fans on board, and they're doing that now. So that's really nice. And well, anyway, it was great to see Super Kev there in the end with a Sunderland scarf on, celebrating
Yeah.
the goal. But yeah, Chris, I'll stay with you. Brian Brobby had a bit of a breakaway. I don't know if you remember in the second half. It was kind of similar to the Chelsea goal, where he got through, but he doesn't have the pace. His touch let him down, but then he held it up and he put Talby in, and Talby beat two players, and then he opened the gap to shoot, but he decided to pass, and then it's like the attack broke down, and I was thinking like, oh, you've got to shoot there.
Yeah, yeah, I think you do. And again, I think we're all guilty of forgetting how young Talby is. He's just a kid. First season outside of his home country. He's a young lad. And I did brilliantly against Chelsea with very much a carbon copy. Robbie held onto the ball for about 3.5 years. And then he finally gave it to Talby and Talby slotted it in. I was expecting the same thing to happen. I think maybe, I don't know, pressure, panic, stress, whatever you want to call it, but he's just a kid, he's just a young lad. Did brilliantly for the one that he did put in, and he had a really good game in the second half. So yeah, one of those. I was expecting the net to ripple, but it didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, Indigo. I mean, we mentioned Alderete before that he had two chances in the first half. In the second half, he also had another chance where he hit the post from a header.
Yeah.
And it was a difficult chance because of the angle that he was. He had to kind of twist his body and head the ball. But we are dangerous from set pieces, from corners, from free kicks, aren't we?
Yes, I love the appointment of Brian, I think, the set piece coach from Charlton Athletic. I think he's been doing an amazing job at Sunderland. And I think one thing that often goes unnoticed is that many of our goals that don't come from set pieces come from like similar settings and similar environments as set pieces. And I think the set piece coach has implemented some principles that have made us more effective in like lodging in crosses and scoring from other plays that are similar to pieces in general. And I love the variety of set pieces we've had this season, and each and every one of them seems very effective. So it's a great thing to see, and I'm sure Alderete is going to score from a set piece sooner or later. So
Well, he
that's
already
one
did. No,
thing
he
that I'm
scored
really
against
looking
Nottingham
forward to.
Forest with the
Yes,
header.
yes,
So yeah,
the winner.
the winner. Yeah. Chris, I think in the last few years with such a young squad, one thing we've been guilty of is probably being a bit naive and not like learning what they call the dark arts. But I thought last night, what dark arts or shithousery, what we call it, buying cheap fouls. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think that's, listen, it's not something we really want to see, but like, listen, if everyone else does it, then fuck it. Why don't we?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's not something that I'm particularly proud of, but it's also quite funny. I mean, there was a couple of times, we went down. Roofs did a really clever one. He plucked the ball out of the air and then he hit the deck and kind of rolled over. It's like, oh, my neck and my head. And I was like, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. But there's a bit of that about it. And I mean, was it Hume who had the one where he's down for a while and he had to go off the concussion protocols?
Yep.
I don't think there was a lot in that one either. But I think you're right. I think it's just it's something that again that is within the fabric of the club now, is that people are going. We need to be a bit more street smart. We need a bit more shithousery, as you say, because otherwise we're just going to get steamrolled. So on the one hand, I'm not a fan of it, but on the other, it's quite nice to see if it's going to get us points at Anfield.
Yeah, and if everyone else does it, then so be it.
Yeah,
But it
yeah,
was interesting that Liverpool, we kicked the ball out for Liverpool in the first half when McAllister went down, and we kicked the ball out. Siddiqui went down again, probably trying to buy a foul, and they just carried on. And it was like, okay, fair enough, be like that.
yeah,
And
yeah. I
then
noticed
and
that.
then he mentioned the Hume one. Noticed that he was holding his head because he did get clattered. Let's be honest.
It did.
He did get, whether it was the head or not, but he got clattered. But he was holding his head, and the ref didn't stop the game until Liverpool's attack broke down. I was like, yeah, big six favoritism right there. Innit?
Yeah, the ref was poor with things like that for us. He gave us very, very little. I got quite cranky that we got the first yellow. I thought there was a couple of things that Liverpool did. They probably deserved a yellow, and then we get it. I'm like, hang on, like what? Where's that come from? So yeah, big six, as you say, champions of England at the minute and all of that, and their backyard and yada yada. So
Yeah, yeah.
what can you do?
Right then, so Indigo on 62 minutes, Brian Brobby, his shift is done. He goes off. I thought he was good for 25 minutes, but I just think that possibly he lacks the stamina to make an impact for longer. So possibly the bench might be the best option for him at the minute until he gets his stamina up. But anyway, Wilson Isidore came on with a point to prove, I suppose, no? Because he's been out of form. He's been dropped. So I thought he was quite good when he came on. He was like running a lot, closing down, pressuring. And something that I've noticed this season is that he wins a lot of headers, which he didn't last season. I thought for the height that he has, he's quite tall. He should be winning more headers. And I think he was winning headers last night against Konate, against Van Dijk. So I thought he was good for the period that he was on.
I think, yes, he has improved slightly in terms of headers, but still, I think Brobby is much better at holding up play in general. And I think Isidore is very fast and rapid, and him breaking away from their back line can be much more effective later on when our opposition is trying to score a goal, is rushing to score a goal, and they might push up their line a bit too much, like we saw in the breakaway in the final portion of the game today. And I personally don't quite think I'm pretty satisfied with Brobby starting and Isidore coming off from the bench, because I think he's much more effective as a substitute. Like, I think most of the goals he scored in the first portion of the season was as a substitute, and I think that might be very effective because it's difficult. I'm sure it's difficult for the opposition center backs to change the way that they approach the center forward when they play in two completely different ways. So I think that whether or not we start Brobby or start Isidore, it's very important that we that we substitute the center forward off and add another center forward in the 60th minute or so, because it really makes it much more difficult for the opposition's defenders to manage the situation.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it, Chris? Because like Brobby and Isidore, they'll have like a different impact on the opposition defenders, because you got Brobby on there who'll probably like battle them around for 50, 60 minutes and wear them down. But then you got Isidore who'll just run them ragged. So I suppose they both have their pros, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've got three very distinctively different forwards. I'll be honest, I wanted to see Maenda coming on instead of Isidore, but I just think the lad deserves a chance. But you're right, I mean, Bobby will hold the ball up and he will be hard to shake off the ball. Isidore will twist and turn and he will take a shot from anywhere. I think that's probably the scary thing as a defender. You don't know where he's going to shoot from because he'll have a pop from anywhere. And Maenda will run at you and run at you with pace. So I think we've got three very different forwards that can cause a lot of problems. And it's an interesting proposition as to what Lebris will do, who starts and who comes on, and it's interesting that we've seen Robbie come on and have an impact. We've seen Isidore come on and have an impact, and I think it's just that thing about coming on against tired defenders who dealt with one type of player for 60 minutes, and suddenly they've got to change everything about the way they play because they're playing against somebody completely different. So yeah, it's just smart thinking from Regis.
Yeah, and I'll stay with you, Chris, because like just before we scored, Jamie Carragher actually said Sunderland are a serious outfit.
Nice.
And I was like, finally, a bit of praise.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. And obviously, we got the goal. I think it was like Van Dijk, wasn't it? Well, Talby tried to get past the player. Van Dijk got the ball, played a poor pass. And then I think it was like the intelligence from Lafay to just like dink that ball to the right of Van Dijk but Lafay's got that quality, hasn't he? He's got that vision, and
that's exactly the word I was going to use. His vision is unbelievable. That he will see a pass that some of us won't even see at the stands, and to think that he's at pitch level and he will see it. Yeah, no, it was a lovely finish. That was a bit of a deflection, but still, theirs was a deflection, so we'll take what we can. It's nice to hear that Mr. Carragher was giving us compliments against his club. That's interesting.
Yeah, it certainly is.
But we haven't played anybody. Remember, keep that in mind. We still haven't played anybody.
Exactly. Yeah, we haven't played anyone yet, but we've actually beaten the Europa Conference League champions, the FIFA World Club Cup champions. We drew against
Liverpool.
Arsenal, runners up the Premier League, semi-final Champions League, and we almost won against Liverpool, the Premier League champions. So, yeah, we haven't played anyone yet. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But listen, Indigo, when we scored that goal, it was a great finish from Talby. Listen, it took a deflection. Even Arne Slot was saying it wasn't a proper chance because it was like a long way out, and it took a deflection. And I was thinking, what about your goal? Your goal was going to the corner flag.
Yeah, it was an amazing goal, and I was surprised Talby went for it from that distance. I would think that most players, especially players who don't have very much experience as a Premier League player, wouldn't go for that from such distance when it's not like he had a clear sight of goal, but as long as he gets it in the back of the net, there really is no problem about it. And I think it's great for him in terms of confidence, and his defensive contributions too is something that I think is very important. I think probably he's going to feature more if he can keep up the goal tally that he's had.
Yeah, and you mentioned there you were surprised that he shot, but I think you have to take your chances, no? Like you have to be brave and have a go, right?
I think there were lots of today. We went for the shot from a longer distance than we usually do. I think we would usually try to recycle play and go for a cross, or where today we shot very early. And I'm not sure if there was any like research they did about Liverpool that back to that sort of decision making, but I thought it was a very interesting change they made today.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, that's a good point because you can go back to the Alderete shot in the first half, the Hume shot, and then Talby having to go from long distance. So I think it was obviously part of a plan to get shots off early, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's very clear that we do that. We will do, if we spot a weakness in the opposition, we'll definitely try and tap into that. So again, it's just nice having a very tactical head coach for a change. We've not often had coaches who think about the game as deeply as Lebris does. So yeah, no, definitely there was definitely a bit of a trend there. So we've obviously spotted something, whether it's something mistaken Allison or the way that Liverpool closed down and they get deflections or whatever it is. It was obviously a bit of a plan for the game.
And then Chris, I mean, we stayed stayed leading for 15 minutes, I think it was, something like that, 17 minutes.
Yeah.
We didn't look really troubled, and I suppose like the goal was a bit disappointing from the fact that Alderete got the ball on the left-hand side, he cleared it, Talby got the first touch, and we talked before about that little like inexperience, and I think by buying cheap fouls, and I just think that Talby could have maybe put his body in the way there and get the contact and then go down. I just thought I think it was Wirtz picked up the ball. He just let him get it quite easily, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, it was a little bit. There was a little bit of, I don't want to call it laziness, but there was a couple of things in the build up where it was just like, oh, come on, like just it's so close. Like it's just a little bit more effort. We didn't really fight to win the ball back. There was a bit of like, oh, it'll be okay. There was just a little bit, and Premier League, like one chance and it's going to go in. So one of those disappointing, but again, I can't believe I'm saying that about a draw at Anfield.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. For me, Indigo, the goal that we conceded was very similar to the Everton goal. I don't remember the NDI goal against Everton where he picked
Yeah.
up the ball in a similar position on the right wing, and he just dribbled in. And again, I thought our defenders possibly could have closed them down a bit more. They backed off, and then Wirtz basically dummied, and then Ballard sat down on his ass, and then you're thinking, okay, well, he's got a shot away, but the shot you can see from the angle, the shot is going absolutely nowhere near the goal. And it's an unlucky deflection from Mukiele. Could Robin Roos have perhaps done a little bit better, do you think? Or do you think the ball was past him before he realised?
Yeah, I really not sure the shot looks like from Roof's perspective, so it's very difficult to identify whether or not Roofs could have done a better job, but I think that probably we shouldn't have gotten into that place in the first place, and Aldrete, if we were leading by a goal, probably he didn't have to take the risk by clearing it into the mix of opposition players and could have probably kicked it and cleared it to a space where there are no players at all.
Yeah.
So I think that there was many players at fault. We could have probably could have blocked Wirtz better. We could have cleared the ball better, and probably Talby could have laid off the ball or won the foul better. So I think it's basically the whole team is at fault for the goal, but I think there are many areas we can improve in that sense. So
Yeah,
there really is no one player that's at fault for that goal.
Yeah, no, it was a combination of errors, I think, as well, because you got Alderete's clearance, then suddenly he's out of position. He's not in the centre of defence where he could have been able to block it. But anyway, listen, what was I going to say now? For example, '09, Chris.
Yes.
Luke '09, he joined the club, when was it? 2000 and, I don't know what it was, 2019, something like that, 2018?
Yeah, first year in League One, was that
Yeah,
18?
yeah. It's been a journey, and listen, we could have lost last night, and I wouldn't have given a shit, because just to see Luke O'Neill make his Premier League debut and the story and what Sunderland means to him and
Yeah.
what he is to us, it's just like it was really nice to see him make his Premier League debut.
Yeah, I got a bit emotional. I'll be honest. I got a bit emotional when he came on. Like he has, as you say, it's been a journey. He has been through it all with us. He has bought into it so much from his debut when he copped all that grief, and you could see that he was just trying too hard on his debut because it was like, this is a big club and this is my chance, and he just took it too seriously and he was too tense. Like just everything about him, like the seats and the CPR for a dog on the beach and his goal celebrations. And I still love that goal celebration. I can't remember who it was against, where he just slides into the picture and he's got his arms by his side.
Wasn't that Ahmad against Preston, something like that, wasn't it?
I just, piggybacking on kissing players. I love him. I love him to death. And when he came on, I was like, it was great. It was lovely to see. It's really, really good.
Like for example, as well, when he did the handball against Watford in the middle of the pitch, he put his hand up like that, saving Labradors on the beach. And then there was also a one where someone's car broke down on the motorway.
Yeah.
On the A19 going from Middlesbrough to Sunderland, and he kind of just like pulled up and stayed with them. And I thought that's just like a class guy, isn't it? Really.
Just a lovely, lovely man. He really is.
Yeah. Indigo, for you, what does Luke O'Neill mean to you? And And how much do you appreciate his journey from where he came, being like a teenager, being released from Watford, I think, who were a Premier League club at the time, and then basically rebuilding his career and showing the determination and the dedication to go from League Two, because that's where he was with Wycombe
Yeah.
Wanderers, to the Premier League. I think it's fantastic, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. Yes, he means so much probably to the fans. I still remember where he, in the documentary where he, Sunderland Till I Die, where he was setting up the chairs and installing them and was saying that one day he's going to become a massive player, and now he is. So I
Yeah,
guess, yeah,
and in
that,
that same scene, there were actually
yes,
fans who were saying, "Who are you?" And they said,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
one of the players," and they thought he was
yeah,
another fan, or they thought he was a
yeah,
youth player, and he's like, "No, I'm Luke O'Nien." so, so yeah, no, he's absolutely brilliant, and you could see at the end, Chris, couldn't you, what it meant to him after the match? Like he was basically puffing his cheeks and like saying, "Wow,
He was buzzing. Did you see him tap the Premier League badge on the sleeve?
yeah."
I was just like, oh, I was just, yeah, I was so pleased for him. It must be,
yeah,
as you say, such a moment for him. You know, League Two being released, his dream shattered, and he's done like I know he's. I don't know if you've seen any of it. He's done a lot of sort of like self-worth things. Like he's got this personal coach, and they talk about like challenges in life and how you deal with things. And he's such a positive fellow. He's got such a great outlook on life. So, if anybody deserves the rewards, it's that man. He's amazing.
yes.
And not
Hopefully he gets to play in at the Stadium of Light as well.
yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And LeBruce actually said after the match, like, it wasn't the gift. Like, Lucas actually trained hard, worked hard, and we needed him in that situation. And it was funny that he said, yeah, we needed Luke O'Nien to play left wing. And I was like, there's another position that he's played. He's played attacking midfielder, centre midfielder, right back, left back, centre back, and now he's played left wing. So, yeah, brilliant to see Luke O'Nien play there. Um, Indigo, we could have won it. We could have won it in the dying minutes. What a kick and what vision from Robin Roofs, but also the intelligence from Isidore.
Yes.
He was on his bike, wasn't he? Well before Roofs had seen him. But what a pass, and Isidore, is that just like a lack of confidence that he didn't score that goal?
Um, I don't think he took it quite badly. It's just that Chiesa got back so fast himself. So I think if there wasn't another defender, he would have easily scored. He got past Allison, the goalkeeper, and probably it might be a lack of confidence, but I'm sure he can learn from the experience, like Lebris always says. And I think if I could put any player, any Sunderland player in that situation where they break away, I would definitely choose Isidore. So I think that,
That's exactly it, isn't it? That's
yes,
the player you want in that
yes.
situation. I mean,
So,
Chris, we saw last season against Hull and against Middlesbrough that when he gets in those one-on-one situations and he goes around the keeper, the next activity is celebration. It's a goal.
yes.
Yeah, I was convinced it was going to go in. As soon as he broke, I was making very unmanly noises. Yeah, I thought it was I thought it was a goal for sure. I think he wanted to take a shot from outside the area, and I think he took a like a poor touch, and then he went, "I'll go around the keeper," and then he was just slightly off balance. And as Indigo said, Chiesa got back and just did a really good job. But it's just one of those. Like I don't think he did a lot wrong. I think he got his touch wrong outside the area, and then once he was in the area, he lost a bit of pace and he couldn't get a lot of power behind it, and it gave Chiesa a chance to get further back. So. I thought it was going to go in when he broke. I really did. I thought it was a phenomenal move, but it just didn't quite happen.
Yeah, I think as well, like that touch that he had just before you mentioned that he probably wanted to shoot before, but I think the ball just got
Yeah.
stuck between his legs.
Yep.
It gave Chiesa the chance to get back, who had a little tug on his shoulder. He decided to go around the keeper, which like he sold the keeper short. I mean, he had the keeper on toast, didn't he? Like, Allison was totally lost, and I
Yep.
think like the contact of the ball that he made wasn't very clean.
No.
He was on an angle, and Chiesa was in the right position, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was going to. I genuinely think he was going to try and shoot from outside the area. I think he was going to try and like swerve it around Allison. And then as we we said he had a poor touch, and then Plan B was to go around the keeper, and then everything was just a bit off balance, and it's one of those. Yeah, another day that sails in. He makes the right touch, and it's a goal. So it's just it's one of those.
Yeah, I mean, Indigo, our Daniel Sturridge, the former Liverpool striker,
Yes.
was mentioning that he probably would have shot just outside the area, but
Yeah.
that the second option was to go around the keeper. He said, which 9 times out of 10 you will get the better of the keeper, but that he just said that he did everything right, Isidore, but that the finish was just like very, very, very weak. No, like the shot
Yeah.
that he had.
I guess Isidore is the player I trust the most in those situations, so probably the next time he's in a similar situation, he'll learn from that and score a brilliant goal. So hopefully he gets another opportunity that he can score, and if he gets one goal, knowing Isidore, he'll score in the next game and in the next game as well. So hopefully he gets the next opportunity sometime soon.
Yeah, and Chris, we know that Isidore will come back from this. He did it before. He went through a spell
Yeah,
last season, didn't he?
yeah,
Where he like lost his confidence and he missed the two penalties against Burnley. That
yeah.
knocked him. And you could kind of see that these little moments they affect him. At the end of the game, he was like head in his hands, and I was thinking, like, listen, don't worry, mate. We know that you'll bounce back from this, and it wasn't the easiest of chances, but
Yeah.
he'll come back from it, won't he?
Yeah, definitely. He's an emotional character, Wilson. Yeah, he's like Sunderland fans, he's either up high or he's in the pits. And you can tell when he gets down about things, he gets really down, and it takes him a while to bounce back. But then when he bounces back, he's incredible. So you're absolutely right. He will come back from this. I'm not concerned about that at all. As Indigo says, he'll get a goal and then he'll probably get another three in a row.
Yeah. Right, so Indigo, we'll take a point from Anfield. I mean, we would have taken a point before the match for sure, but we were disappointed that we didn't get the 3 points. Uh, that's the first game of a difficult week because on Saturday we have the small task of going to the Etihad and playing against Man City. But after seeing how we've performed against Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool, do we have anything to fear about going to the Etihad?
I think we should, in the sense that we should remain grounded, and they are one of, if not the best team in the world every year. So we really, they have Erling Haaland, they have Gianluigi Donnarumma, and all of these world-class players. So we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. But I think that if we do what we do best, like we always do, we should be able to have uh, a good chance of getting 1 point, if not 3 points. So, yes, we have to do what we always do. One thing that I'm concerned about is yellow cards and fatigue, but as long as we can control those two areas, I think that we do have a chance.
Yeah, no, and the yellow cards, Chris. I mean, Xhaka and Siddiqui, they're one away from that suspension. The Mags game is after City. I thought Siddiqui could have been booked last night for a foul that he made in the first half, but I think Regis trusts him, doesn't he, to play the game sensibly and avoid getting the yellow card.
Yeah, I mean, we're clearly walking this tightrope because we've had a stack of games now. I think it's been 4 or 5 games that we've known we're in this situation. So, like I said, Labrise is not going to play that kind of a game. He's not going to tell them to go out and get booked to get it out of the way. And he's obviously, as you said, he trusts them both to go and do the right things. Siddiqui is the concern because he can lose his head a little bit. He's a bit hot-headed, whereas Granite's a bit more cool and calm. And now that I've said that, he'll probably get booked against Man City, and I will cry. But yeah, I mean, we're obviously just going to keep going with it and hope for the best, I guess. Don't do anything silly.
Yeah, and I think the good thing as well is that the club have decided to stay down in the northwest
Yes.
uh, to recover and then match preparations, which I think is sensible, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I heard about that today at the end of the game, and I thought it was again sensible decision. Makes sense. There's no point in traveling for the sake of it. It's another day's worth of travel, which just is tiring, and we don't need that. We need them as fresh as they can be to play Man City.
Hmm. Well, That's it for today, lads. Thank you for coming on. We've got that game against Man City. I think it's the early kickoff, isn't it, on Saturday? So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully put another performance and pick up some more points. But Chris, thanks a lot for coming on, mate.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and Indigo, welcome to the podcast, and really enjoyed your presentation and your input and your knowledge of Sunderland. And I think it's really refreshing to see fans who don't have any personal connection to Sunderland from childhood to see your passion and your dedication. So thank you for coming on.
No, thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast. It was wonderful to talk about Sunderland Football AFC with all of you, and it's been eye-opening to know all of these interviews and things that I really didn't know about the club, and I would love to communicate with Sunderland fans all around the world.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you very much. How are the lads?
Hi there, lads. Cheers,
How
boys.
is the lad?
Thank you.